This is the Random Nontendo podcast. I don't even remember what episode we're on, but
37.
It is 37 for Sunday, April 17th. I am Kevin. To my virtual left, as always, Jason.
Hello, happy Easter and happy Passover. Double holiday.
Double holiday. And to my virtual right, we have Angel.
I am Angel.
He is Angel. It's been a minute since we've done one of these.
Yeah. It's I think this
Several
is the longest
thousand
gap
of
we've
them.
had. Yeah, indeed. It's been
Well,
four
actually,
random
that math may
Nintendos.
not add up.
I highly doubt it does.
It's been four random Nintendos since we did a random Nontendo. If you need some sort of nin-non ratio.
Four
There you
random
go.
Nintendo, so that's that's some
So
easy
2 months.
calculator math. So
Roughly 2 months.
8 times 24 hours times 60 minutes. Yeah, 11,052. So
Wait,
it's,
hang on. What was the 8? 8 times 24 hours. That's just 8 days. It's been 2 months.
Weeks?
2
so it should be-
months,
Oh,
8
wait.
weeks.
But 8
oh,
times
wait, there's even more
24.
math there. I missed.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. It'd be 8
So
times, or it'd be
times 7.
7 times
we go,
24
times
times
24.
60.
I mean, it's still several. It's 80,000. I mean, that's several.
Oh, I thought you said it was 1,000 minutes actually.
Oh no, I
Not
said
just
several.
several. Okay, I was like, no shot. Just
I
1,000 minutes.
mean, I mean, arguably, there's a better word I can use than several because I feel like several implies less than 10.
Like
A
thousands,
plethora?
perhaps, or tens of thousands, or plethora, yeah. A gaggle of minutes?
Plethora,
It's a gaggle.
plethora. Same thing.
Wow.
Tomato, tomato. Anyways,
Did you see that little mini Mario the other day? I think that was
Mini
like a
Mario.
Vine. It's like
What?
I guess people are checking out that toy that you could buy at Universal Studios now from the Nintendo World shop thing. It just looks creepy. I don't know, creepy toys.
I haven't seen this.
is it like
I
a
tried.
mini kind of Mario or?
No, it's a regular Mario. Definitely check it out, Jason. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on
March of the Mini Mario.
later.
Well, you know what I tried to check out? I tried to check out.
It's a toy
Go
Miyamoto
ahead.
demoed a long time ago. You stick like a
Oh, the
back
weird,
and
like,
then
it's like a
auto
kind of
locks.
move. It's like posable figurine thing, kind of. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
The
it walks on its
multiple- yeah.
own, and
It walks on its
weird.
own, and you can like kind of move the arms a little. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
cool, but it's kind of disturbing. I don't know. It gives me bad vibes. I don't know.
You know what I did try and check out, speaking of Universal Studios? When I was there for the Kirby event we talked about on Random Nintendo, I tried to see the construction of Nintendo World, but I didn't have a pass to the park. So you can see it if you're in Universal Studios and you're at the top of the escalator going down to a lower level of the park because it's like a 2-tier thing because it's on a hill. You can see the construction from there. I did not have a pass, but I still
must have
want to see the
definitely talked
construction.
about that in the Nintendo or Nontendo.
You
last summer.
mentioned it, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I wanted to see where it was at. So I looked up how to see it from outside the park, and it turns out if you come up kind of from the valley side into Universal, there is like an overlook kind of on the hill you're driving, except they have since put a boarded up wall against it. So we like stopped the car because they had like little window slots in the cardboard where you could see, but they bolted them shut, which is like, why, if you're putting up, not cardboard, wood, but why, if you're putting up a wooden wall, would you take the time to put in a window, but then bolt shut the window so you can't actually open it and look through the wooden wall? Like, why carve that? But either way, so we stopped the car on this street where we're not supposed to stop. I like tried to shove a phone kind of in a gap of one of them that was a little open to get a photo, and within, I kid you not, 10 seconds, security was already on our like car. Like they're already coming down the street. Like, what are they doing? We had to like hop in and leave. 10 seconds? Do they have like constant security cameras on just a wooden wall?
Security.
So
I guess so.
I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I work in security. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if this contract, something in the contract stipulates that this has to be something that you are on 24/7. I would not be surprised.
Okay. Yeah.
It being Nintendo.
The thing that's so funny to me though is you can see it from the escalator, no problem.
Sure,
So,
but
like,
there's,
if
there's
you're-
literally there's not
Yeah.
not much that you could do in that situation.
That's true.
But
That's
if
true.
you could stop, a smart ass from sticking his phone in,
Adjacent, if you will.
adjacent.
To be fair, I was being egged on by my girlfriend. I didn't want to do it because I'm a good Nintendo citizen and I respect
Damn.
Nintendo, but
What
I'm
were
going to
you
throw her
doing
under
that-
the bus.
Wait, so was it her idea to like drive up
I
close
s-
and find?
No. I was like, I wonder if we can see it from the road. And then I like looked it up because there's like a website that literally tells you where to find it.
I mean, that already
And
sounds like
then-
you did 90% of the work there.
No, but then we're driving and the wall's really high. And then she's like, well, there's like a kind of pried open little slot there. Why don't you just stick your phone through?
Do
And
it,
I was like,
Jason.
I don't know. Yeah, and she's
Do
like, just
it.
do it. I'm like, okay, fine. So she like pulled over her car and I got out and tried. And of course the phone didn't even fit. It was too small a slot. But then security was there. And this is a pattern. Like, I'm not just going to throw her under the bus entirely, but I am. This is a pattern where we were in Arizona. There was,
Let me
when
remind
we went
you,
to visit
it's still
Grand Canyon.
your choice, so... I mean,
Yeah, I
unless
know,
she, like,
but
literally
when there was
grabbed
a
your
Grand-
arms
we
and
went to the
stuck it
Grand
through the
Canyon.
hole, then...
You're right, and she didn't put a gun to my head. But when we were at the Grand Canyon in the start of the pandemic, so March 2020, there used to be a Flintstone theme park, very small theme park, but a Flintstone theme park kind of on the way to the Grand Canyon. It has since been abandoned. And it seemed like kind of a cool, like, oh, that'd be cool, like to see an abandoned theme park. So, and it seemed like they didn't put fencing up from what we read. So we're like, we're gonna go check it out. And it was tiny, to be clear. It was like a slide. Yeah, it was a slide. That's what type of theme park it was. It was more of a playground, I guess. But it was big. It was like this huge slide and some other stuff. So we go. The front of it's been converted into like a laundromat and like a bar or something. Like it's like a Flintstones looking building, but it's just like a laundromat inside. But behind it is like the remnants of all these different statues and stuff. And we're like, oh, we should go check it out. And we get there, and it's all barbed wired fenced and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, we can't do this. It's completely closed. We can't go in. She's like, no, over there's a gap in the fence. I'm like, no, we're not. And she's like, yeah, we are. And so we like went like a few feet in, and then we kind of got a little like, oh, this is a little weird because we saw like a security camera and we saw like, it just didn't seem like the smart thing to do. So we didn't do it, but we went back the next day as we were coming back to Grand Canyon just like to see if there's maybe a different place that we could get in. And when we got there overnight, they put giant yellow signs that said, no trespassing, you can be seen, do not try it. And we're like, wait, was this because of us yesterday? So 2 times security has been on us. And also, again, who's monitoring an abandoned park that's now a laundromat? Like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, so she's a bad influence is my point. Anyway, happy Arnon. And we have this on record.
It's on
Yes,
record, yeah.
yes.
We're bringing this
Yeah.
up at some point.
I'm sure this is, yeah, and I'm sure, like, the police are going to come hunt me down now because I just admitted to trespassing 10 feet into an abandoned Flintstones park. But
Well, hopefully you at least get a fine or something. But
I mean, I don't hope so, but I appreciate, that you'd like to see me giving
You
back
guys
to
ever gotten
our
fined for
society.
anything? I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I recently I got a speeding ticket.
I've
speeding
never
of-
gotten a speeding ticket.
I'm
Not
shocked
fun.
considering how reckless Jason drives. But yeah.
I'm not that reckless at all. I mean, you, Angel, drive
Wait, so
like
how much is a speeding
5
ticket?
under the speed limit. It
So-
depends on your speed.
This is the weird thing. I got the guy pulled me over because I don't want to say how fast I was going 45 into 25, right? And literally here in Southgate, if I tell you the street, Angel, you'll know exactly what street I'm talking about. But anyways, he pulled me over, and then what happened? And then, I was being very cordial with him, and then he was actually trying to like hook me up because he goes, "Hey man, I don't want to give you a speeding ticket. You're going 25 and you're going 45 and 25. I don't want to give you a speeding ticket because it's like traffic school and all this stuff."
5 and a 25.
Yes, I was going 20 miles over the speed limit.
Tisk says the trespasser over here.
Yeah, and so but
all
luckily
the
the guy
criminals.
I think he was CHP. I don't know, but he was very cool. He was like, I'm just gonna give you a fix-it ticket, and all you have to do is remove the Marines air freshener, the U.S. Marines air freshener, hanging from your rearview mirror. I'm like, what? I can do that. I can do that right now. And then he goes, yeah, but like you still got to go to court for it and just prove that you did do it. So here you go. Just do that. Go to court. You'll be fine. No speeding ticket.
Damn.
What?
Yeah, that's
How
awful.
does Yeah, how's that justified in court though? Like, what was the legal reason you couldn't have an air freshener? I mean,
exactly, and not only that, but on the speeding ticket, it does say that I went 45 and 25. But
did that guy just lie? Did that cop just lie to you?
He might have just lied to me. He's I don't know.
Must have been a boring day for him.
Court
that's his entertainment. It's just like, I'm going to tell him it's for one thing, and then he gets there and gets bamboozled.
Yeah, that way, he's already like, cops already have a bad rap. If I go down this route where I tell him, hey, you're going to have to pay for the speeding ticket, he's going to go ballistic on me or whatever. And maybe it was just his way of like softening whatever insults might have come his way. You never know. I'll find out. I will update everybody.
It's like a weird customer service move. It's like, I feel like that's like a kind of bending over backwards like retail does or something sometimes.
So when I used to be like a security officer at a venue, Lost and Found would always come to us. And so whenever I'd get the call in the office, hi, I'm sorry, have like you guys found a lost phone, lost wallet, whatever it be, I would know what we had in Lost and Found was, usually because I was the one that was cataloging everything. And so I knew that if I didn't have it, I would just put them on hold and just like do something else for like 2 minutes. And then just come back, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, sir, we do not have your item, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Well knowing. I'd be like, oh yeah, let me just check the Lost and Found. Put them on hold, start talking to my buddy, watch a quick video on YouTube just to make it seem like I was searching like hard for it,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense because like if you know, but you tell them instantly, they won't believe you. So
exactly.
Kinda,
and that's happened before where like you didn't even check. And so my answer is like, well, I'm the person that like documents the Lost and Found. And they're like, oh, can you just check again? And I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. It's not going to magically appear. But
so game respects game with the cop then, huh? You saw what he was doing and you're like, I do that with other things. I get you.
Damn it. I just realized that's exactly what happened there.
Yep.
Awesome.
You're literally justifying the weird fake ticket. Yep.
Well, I mean, well-deserved ticket. Well, maybe not well-deserved, but deserved ticket. I was going 20 miles over the speed limit. Have you guys ever gotten like a parking ticket?
Oh, parking, yeah.
Parking, yeah.
Surprisingly, no.
It was my parents' fault, the parking ticket. I went to get lunch with them. They're like, park here. And I'm
your
like,
fault,
sure.
Jason?
Yes, but not that.
It's my girlfriend.
Nothing's my fault ever. No, but the nice thing about being actually no, I got one here in my apartment that was completely my fault. So never mind. I'm not gonna tell the other story because I've done it myself.
I've gotten a few by work, and those
one that
haven't been expensive though, thankfully.
Yeah, they're not bad. The thing that's annoying is getting used to like street cleaning days.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, where I used to live, they would just go around the cars. There was never like a street cleaning day. They just like, oh, if there's a car there, whatever. But in LA proper, now that I'm in LA proper, yeah, they definitely, like, you have to make sure you're on the right side of the street, and yeah, it's easy to forget. At least in the early days. So that's kind of been my downfall.
The downfall of Jason.
The downfall of Jason.
So, have either of you ever heard of a movie called Another Round?
Yes.
No. Go on.
Yeah. So
hold on. Can I? Is it with Mads Mikkelsen?
Yes.
Okay, so we are thinking about the same movie. Okay, go ahead.
So this movie I actually saw back in December. It was like, I think it was like the first time I was visiting a friend's place because I just hadn't visited them like in a long time since the pandemic. Good buddy Eric. I know we're all familiar here with him. And we randomly like, yeah, he's like your twin,
doppelganger.
Basically. Yeah,
I don't see it.
It's a very, very, very. It's not like they look really alike. It's just very superficial. Very.
It's slight enough that everyone runs with the joke.
It's more of a joke that just became a thing.
However, my mom sees it.
Because they're both, the lighter skinned fellows of our group, and they both just happen to wear the exact same sweater. and own the exact
Jacket,
same
not
sweater,
sweater,
like,
jacket. Yeah, I wore a jacket
so
once.
so like it just kind of worked with the joke, and it's like, oh my god, you guys are like identical. And then they both, I guess, Eric worked for his dad. Jason, I guess, as a son, worked for his dad for 18 years. Whatever you
What?
call that.
Wait, what? Are you saying my employment was as son of my dad?
That's part of your employment. I mean, your benefits included having a place to stay and food,
That's
and
true.
you had to go to
That's true.
school, and
they paid for trips and entertainment and like video games and movies. Yeah,
I never
Yeah,
thought about
exactly.
it that way. We're
yeah.
from birth we're employed to our
Yeah.
parents.
What a capitalistic American view.
Yeah.
From birth, you are working. Going into the workforce is no different than moving from your parents to a new parent. Yeah.
pretty much, yeah. That's how
Okay, so
crumbles.
another round.
But yeah, and this movie, like, we just started watching it. I had never heard of it. The only thing, I guess, that they would recognize was Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah,
I'm
Mads.
never 100% sure what his last name is exactly. I just assume I'm saying it right until corrected. But I guess I'm glad to know that it is Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, really strange movie. Like, I don't know, like, I enjoyed it for sure. The basic premise is that it's basically like a group of friends, like, take like this group, like, it's a Kevin, a Jason, an Angel, but we are all teachers at the same school. And one of them, like, they're just like hanging out some Friday night, having some drinks, and then one of them is like, hey, I heard of this thing where, like, you're actually way more successful and way more productive. Like, pretty much, like, it makes your life better if you're just a little bit drunk throughout the day. Like, throughout the whole day. Just, like, maintain a very small level
buzz.
of, like, alcohol. Yeah, like a buzz. And I'm sure you could already guess where it kind of goes from there. Like, they're like, hey, you know what? Like, that seems fun. Let's try it. And, they try it for, like, a few weeks. Like, things first start getting better. Like, Mads Mikkelsen's character, like, he's been, like, the teacher that kids are getting bored with, not paying attention. But then, he starts doing this experiment, suddenly having more confidence, being a little more loose. And then, like, the kids are, like, all, like, into his thing. He gets way more into what he's teaching and gets crazy. And actually, at some point, he even starts, like, talking about, like, they all kind of, like, slowly start realizing, like, hey, we're kind of becoming alcoholics. Until, one of the friends in the group takes it way too far and straight up becomes a full-on, like, really, like, bad alcoholic to the point where he shows up to work, like, super, super drunk. And you know what? It was in December, so I actually don't remember if that person died or if he just got fired. I want to say he died. But
Spoiler alert.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, if we are assigned work at birth, dying is getting fired in a sense.
This is true.
Basically.
This is true. This is going to fold in very nicely with me talking about Severance in a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then, yeah, it was just, like, a really interesting movie. Like, it wasn't necessarily, like, comedy, I guess it was kind of like a drama, but it was just, I guess I haven't really watched a movie like that in a long time. Not to mention a movie where, we watched it in its, I was going to say its native tongue. Because, it's...
Native language.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know what language,
I think it's like,
Mikkelsen is native too, but...
Norwegian, I think?
I think he's either Norwegian or Swedish.
Yeah, one of those.
Scandinavian of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, basically, yeah, because it was all, like, in that language. So it was interesting just hearing, like, Mansai speak in a different language without it being, like, a dub.
He's got a very husky voice when he speaks in English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that translates to his native tongue.
It would be funny if in his native language his voice was, like, completely different. Like,
Just
when he's, like, playing a
high-pitched.
Bond villain. Yeah, like a Bond villain, he's like, yeah, he's like this. And then he's like, hey, guys, in, like, his normal voice or something.
Yeah, so basically, like, I would recommend this movie, but, definitely don't watch it if you're, like, at all tired. I guarantee you will fall asleep. Because it's a very slow movie, but, I mean, I was engaged the whole time. I was only saying that because someone did fall asleep when we were watching it, and they were, quote-unquote, the ones that were the big Mads Mikkelsen fan. But, yeah.
Well, I totally get what
random
you're
movie.
saying. You're saying that we should be just teetering on the edge of drunk while we record these podcasts. I'm all for it.
Interesting because we were recording this at 8 a.m. So gotta start early.
Do gotta start early.
I'm not. Next round Nintendo, I'm doing just slightly drunk. Just FYI, Jason.
Well, I look forward to your very passionate thoughts about whatever we talk about because I'm sure you'll be ramped up to really, really have thoughts on something like, I don't know, Sonic 2 or whatever we end up covering.
Which I did already watch. Took us an hour to get to that Chinese theater, but it was worth it.
Well, yeah, it's in Hollywood and you're not in that area, so that makes sense.
I mean,
traffic.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb to say, like, well, it normally takes 30 minutes without traffic, but I mean, there's always traffic to get to Hollywood.
Yeah, now that we're in like a quote unquote post-pandemic world, even though the pandemic's still kind of here, yeah, traffic's back and it sucks again. It's really nice for like a year. There, you can get anywhere in LA in like 25 minutes, but yeah, not anymore.
Can you get anywhere in 25 minutes?
In LA? Yeah, there was a period like in like the first few months of the pandemic, like that summer, like June, July, August 2020, you could pretty much get anywhere in LA within half an hour. Because there's just no one on the road. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Which you can
awesome.
still do to anyone who's in LA or wants to visit LA. Go on the road at like 3 a.m. Anywhere's 25 minutes at 3 a.m.
The only times I ever go to the TCL, I think it's just now the TCL Grauman's, right, or something like that.
Correct. I believe so. Yeah.
TCL Grauman's?
The
Or
TCL
Grauman's or whatever.
Grauman's TCL Theater. It's not the Chinese theater anymore, but I mean everybody still calls it that. But
It
the
still
only
has the
times I ever
design
get any
motif,
showtimes, the only times I ever get showtimes now are like 9 or 10 p.m. just because I know by that time some traffic will have cleared up. I remember
Plus, it's a
going
little
to see
easier
Civil
park.
War like at 7 p.m. with some friends. Man, was traffic unbearable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me guess, you went opening night, so it'd be like a Thursday, which is the worst day for traffic?
Yeah, it was either like Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
that's just asking for trouble. Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying Sonic?
Oh, no, I don't remember why about that. Oh, I guess I recently... Wait, Jason said Sonic, and then I said...
Oh, I said if we
thought
end
that-
up talking about Sonic or something, you'll be very passionate because you'll be buzzed. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll...
No, not you,
Oh.
Kevin. You're not going to be buzzed. Kevin's going to be buzzed. Or
I
so
still
he
haven't
claimed.
even seen the first one, so.
Really? Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Oh,
Well, you know what? Then it's like an episode of Drunk History where you can just make up as you go.
Well, I'm not going to be drunk. I'm just going to be on the charming side of drunk.
So it'll be an episode of charming, buzzed history, except the history is the Sonic movie premise.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
No, that works.
Mm-hmm.
I
Can you tell we haven't done this in 2 months, everyone? Got real quiet real fast.
Just chill.
Yeah, I don't really have anything.
I mean,
to talk about.
I'm just kind of glad that, like, just have, like, well, actually, no, I take that back. I was going to say, I'm kind of glad that I have, like, a calm weekend for once, but
No, you don't.
No,
Yeah, I'm about to see you, like, all day in a little bit, because we're going to go see Sonic.
Yeah,
So.
tell me about it.
I mean, most friends would be like, oh, cool, I'm excited to see you not groan in agony, but I'll take what I can get.
Maybe he didn't like the movie and he had already
Committed.
Yeah. And so he's like, man, now I got to see it with Jason.
But he groaned at we're hanging out all day before I even said Sonic, I think. Play back the tape maybe, but if I'm correct, then that's at me, not the movie.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that part.
Yeah.
No, the movie was great. I really liked
See, it's me.
All right,
It's
well,
me. That's
nothing I can do there, Jason. So
Thank you for trying, Kevin. I appreciate you kind of allowing me the softball to get out of that, and then I just totally did not hit it.
But yeah, as I was saying, like last week, I mean, it definitely, I guess it only feels calmer just because last week I did the Tough Mudder, and for those of you that don't know, it comes in 3 flavors: a 5K, a 6K, or a 15K. And
Jesus.
the 10K that we did, which, you know, that means nothing to me. I don't know what 10K means. Like, yeah, like we were maybe like halfway through it when half the people in that group. I did it with my coworkers. So, but like half the time, like, you know, we we didn't know like what 10K was, so we were like, are we close? Is it like 5 miles? Is 10K like it's probably not 10 miles. It's 6.6 miles is what it ended up being. So, and there's 20 obstacles, and I thought it was gonna be like a nice, decently length obstacle course. Obviously a little more extreme, but mainly an obstacle course. But it actually ended up being, I think it took us like 3 to 4 hours to finish it, and most of it was like intense hikes. Like, Jesus, like these hikes. I am so glad that I was hiking semi-regularly for like the past like couple weekends, because oh my god, like these things just got so steep and it just never ended. And I mean that's just like the hiking part. Like my shoes literally fell apart. Like both soles of both my like exercise shoes like just didn't survive, which yeah, it's kind of bad because like you kind of need them. And there was like some pretty jagged rocks towards the end of the hike that I did get hurt on one of them. Not super hurt, but that did kind of suck. Luckily the shoe itself, like I mean, I obviously tossed them after, but like the sole, or at least I don't even know, just the bottom, because there was no sole anymore. Was thick enough, just thick enough that you could just still walk in it and it feels fine. It was like walking on something between a cheap flip flop and a tennis shoe. It was like something between that. But point is, yeah, this thing it lives up to its name. That same friend from earlier that I mentioned, they had done it 4 times. So by the time, I did it and I brought it up to them, they were like downplaying the heck out of it. Pretty much saying like, oh, you're doing the tough walker? Like, pretty much.
It's not even clever. Like that's.
I wasn't like chortling to the joke. It was more like, come on, dude, don't do that to somebody who hasn't done this before.
Yeah, no, but even that, if you're gonna do it, at least be clever, is what I'm saying. Like that's such like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get it. Like, if you've done it many times, like it's probably not going to be like as intimidating. But I haven't done it, so it was intimidating, and I think it lived up to its name very much. And yeah, so essentially, like there were a couple of obstacles in particular. Like, I'm not going to talk about all 20, but there's a few that I'll highlight. Besides the extremely steep hikes, in both directions, there was a lot of sliding down very steep, like, I guess, not cliffs, just like sides of mountains.
Did they give you like handles like up the cliffs?
No. Nothing.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
how do you go about sliding?
At any point did you have to use your like hands to like climb?
Not to climb up those hills, but definitely to go down, because those things were super steep. Like you practically want to go sitting down, but then you inevitably, pretty much like no matter what you're gonna start sliding, and then it's just more of like a, oh man, what's the best way to stop myself so I don't go down too fast?
Jesus.
But yeah, but I will say that like, while they are tough, a lot of them do fall in they're scarier than they look, but I mean they are still pretty scary. So it's just not like, oh man, I thought I was gonna die. Although there is one that does make you do that. But when you go through it, okay, that wasn't that bad. Honestly, my motto throughout the whole thing was don't think about it. Like there were so many times where, like, one of the first obstacles that we thought was going to be one of the last was called the Arctic Enema, where you live to.
Okay.
You go into you go into a slide and it dunks you into a pool of ice cold water with ice in it. It literally just has like filled with ice cubes, and it's about maybe 3 feet long, so it's not that long. You pretty much like dive in and then you want to get out as fast as possible. And as I'm like climbing up the triangle to like basically sit down to slide in, like I made sure not to dwell on it. I'm just like, don't think about it, just go in. And within like a second, I just like did the slide, got out. Extreme pain for a couple seconds because oh my god, that was really cold, obviously. And yeah, I had to do that for a lot of them because there's a lot of situations where it's heights or where you just have to just go, like just don't think about it. And I survived. I'm definitely glad I made it through. But man, these were intense. But the one that I feel was probably the worst, or that I would say is the worst, is one that I don't even know what to call it. I guess I'll call it the Lion King. Um, because you basically have to climb up a ladder that, yeah, imagine a ladder leaning towards you. So, the higher you climb, the more horizontal you are to the ground. But, you're going up higher. And there's like no cushion below you. It's just like a thin rubber mat that is not going to do anything. So, yeah, that thing was kind of horrifying because you have to go up pretty high and then you have to like essentially like, reach around. And pretty much when you let go, like when you stop holding that bar with your legs, you're pretty much dangling. And it's like, you're pretty much in that Mufasa position. And luckily, we had like some awesome coworkers that like went up there first and were able like to help us out. Because this is like a cooperative activity. Like you are encouraged to, wait for your teammates.
Oh, that's cool.
Out. So like like I said, like I went with like a group of like 8 people, and yeah, and we were all like helping each other. We were encouraging each other. It was fun. It was like, it's kind of hard to top that bonding experience. Yeah, it was definitely just a really good bonding experience. But yeah, that one was terrifying. That one I thought I was gonna die, especially because when the coworker has you, they're literally the only thing that's keeping you from like falling to your doom. So that was definitely appreciated. But
falling to your firing.
Yeah. And I guess like the only other one I really want to bring up is like this one called the mutter horn, that is like a really tall wall. And yeah, that thing the higher you, well, I guess it's not a wall. It's like part of it is a wall. You have to jump up and run towards the wall and then climb it. But then as soon as you climb the top, there's like netting that goes up maybe 30, 40 feet. Some crazy amount. It looks like it's like 3 stories tall. And you're pretty much climbing up this netting, but you can see below you the whole time. So, you see how far you're climbing. And then you have to like, pick yourself and go over it and then climb back down. And yeah, that thing is really hard to do. Like, it really messes with you. And, but I did it. Definitely proud of that. But
Nice.
well, that's kind of a lot of these. Like, they tell you, like, yeah, you are going to be, facing a lot of, I guess, fears, a lot of things that people may, normally never want to do on a regular basis. But
I assume you have to sign a waiver.
you do sign a waiver. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, and we have some people in our group that like didn't even prep or do anything for it, and they did it. Like you could skip some obstacles. I mean, there was one where you literally get tased.
What? Why?
What?
Why? What is that proving? What are you? Why?
I probably should have like mentioned that was a thing. That one, I think that was called electroshock therapy. There's actually 2 of them. There's one where there's a lot of crawling. There's like a lot of obstacles where you have to like crawl under something. Sometimes I crawl under something while in water.
No, see, that makes sense. Mud is in the name. Mutter. There is no tase in the name. Why?
Yeah, it's a classic.
It's a classic.
Yeah. But yeah, this tase thing. Pretty much it's just like a straight shot. There's a bunch of dangling wires, and you just have to make your way through. And yeah, it's almost impossible not to get through without like getting shocked. And most people just run through it. They just take the hits. I think like we saw one person like buckle their knees and fall over. But for the most part, most people made it out fine. I just like tried to take my time and shimmy through, and I only got shocked once at the very end, and it was on my shoulder, and it just felt like someone like slapped me abruptly on my shoulder. So it was pretty surprising, but it didn't hurt. It was very, it was shocking, I guess. Like trying to find a different word to say, but it's kind of what it was just startling. It was more startling than painful. But there were some people that weren't as lucky that may disagree. I mean, there was like another one where you have to like crawl under like a metal grating that has the same dangling cables. But I was able to get through that without getting shocked just because I made sure to stay low and just follow the path that looked low enough. But right next to me, a friend of mine, you just kept hearing the and owls every once in a while.
Why would you choose to put yourself through that? I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure for someone, it's like, this is like you. It's like, oh, this is what an experience, what an opportunity, what a risk I can take for myself and personal growth, physical growth. I'm just hearing that, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I feel sorry for people that don't want to do that. If they physically can't,
okay.
if they physically can't, then yeah, that's understandable. But I feel this is something that everyone should at least attempt. Because,
Why?
I don't know, it's cool just like, it's just cool like learning that like a lot of these limits are just psychological. Like, there was a lot of these that like when I heard about them, like that Arctic enema, or even the shocking one, that I'm like oh, I don't want to do those. But then you do them, and I don't know, it just feels really, really good. Like, I don't think I felt that like, because like we go through like, there aren't many times that I could think of where I've overcome some kind of like physical challenge or something that's like just more mental. Like, I don't think I've really, I think the closest thing I could think of is getting on a roller coaster that looks intimidating and then just coming out of it going like, damn, that was really fun. Yeah, I don't know. It's just cool, like getting like a version. I don't know, just pushing those limits, and obviously they're not gonna make you do anything that's gonna like get you killed. I mean, maybe some of them can if you're not being careful, but yeah, I don't know. It was great. I mean, I already signed up for the one in December, to give you an idea, and my brother actually also signed up for it. Like, he's gonna want to do it, and the hiking definitely helped. So like my legs weren't too bad after, but I basically did no upper body training, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of climbing, and my arms were like noodles by the end of it. And I was in a lot of sore pain after. Like, I definitely should have. And I've been going to the gym for like a few weeks now, but I hadn't done any arm workout. So now I know to do that, because, yeah, by the end I had zero grip strength. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do the monkey bars. Like, I just fell into the water and just had to like swim across just to like finish. But yeah, fun, different experience. Not something I would do so back to back to back, but 7 months from now, I don't mind doing it again.
And props to you for doing it. Like, I know I was like, nope, but seriously, like to push yourself and then to want to push yourself again like that, like that's, and to kind of shore up and know what you need to do it better and to train for it, like that takes a lot. So props
It's cool,
to you.
because as I was saying it, I was like, Jason could totally do this.
Yeah,
It would just, no, you definitely can.
I probably could. Yeah. Do I want to?
You can, but yeah, you just wouldn't want to. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But well, maybe one day, maybe 3 years from now, maybe something will switch. Maybe this is the beer of post college Jason.
But that was directly in front of me all
so
the time.
I don't think I'd do it.
So.
Wait, what?
I hate
What?
wet socks, so I don't think that I would do it.
See, that's a good excuse right there. I can get behind that.
I hate that as well, but it's just one of those things. I guess because I signed up for it like 3 weeks before. I normally hate getting wet. I hate getting wet and I hate getting dirty. And just having that time just to mentally be ready, like, you know what, it's just gonna happen. Just don't think about it. Like, literally the first obstacle was like diving into a pool of mud and crawling through like a grate, and it kind of peels that band-aid right out. Like, as soon as you just get dirty, it sucks for,
I
like,
think
the first
mud
couple
I'm
seconds, and you just get
easier
over it.
with, but not water.
But because
Muddy
like you're
socks I can do.
also, but because you're also like hiking a ton, like you dry off pretty quickly, and then you get wet again. Then you get dried off. Then you get wet again. I don't know how I did not get sick at all. Cause
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe.
Especially after the Arctic enema.
Yeah, like, luckily, none of us got sick. Like, like I said, it just kind of hurt to move and sleep and get in and out of chairs. But, like 3 days later, like, I was fine. I was able to go back to the gym. But, yeah, I'm not saying like you need to do it, but if the opportunity ever presents itself, I would say consider it, because it's cool. Or maybe like honestly, if you could find one that's just the obstacles without like the getting wet part, maybe like instead of falling into a pool from really high up, you fall into like a pool of foam, or like and like one of those places where it's like a trampoline something. Sky City, I forget what they're called. Yeah, I don't know, that could be fun as well.
So less tough mudder, more tough jungle gym. What you're kind of pitching here?
Yeah, extreme jungle gym.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's tough mudder. I mean, What did I have to? Oh, yeah. I guess I'll only end with like, yeah, one of the quotes that they told us is like, just remember, like, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And, that kind of stuck with me because those experiences are few and far between. I think the last time I had something for the first time was 2 weeks before that when I had last lassi. And I know I posted about it in the chat because
Lassi? Lassi? You
yeah,
mean the drink?
yeah, because I was like,
the
yeah, because I was
Indian
like, what is this
milkshake?
yogurt? Yeah, it's like mango yogurt drink, and it was like amazing. And I was like, how did I not know this thing was a thing? It was pretty much like gourmet Danimals. I don't know. If
I'm
if
sure the
insulting.
entirety of Indian culture appreciates that they were just compared to their signature smoothie was just compared to Danimals.
Danimals is good. I mean, but that's just me. I like Danimals. I haven't had it in years, but
Do you still make
What the fuck,
animals?
Yeah, they still
I
make
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah, they still make it.
Oh.
It's usually next to the Go-Gurt
Wow.
in the yogurt section.
Good for them, man. Good for them.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Tough Mudder was like, when's the last time you tried something for the first time? They didn't mean 2 weeks prior when you had a smoothie. I think they meant like in life, like bigger, because you kind of undercut their own selling point there. When's the last time you did something? 14 days ago I had a new type of smoothie.
Hey,
They're
it
thinking
opened my
bigger.
eyes to new cuisines. I'm all like, wow, I need to see what.
Wait, did you not
others
really
eat.
eat Indian food before that? Ever?
Not too much. I think the last time
Oh,
I maybe tried it was
missing out.
yeah, I had the butter chicken and yeah, it was good.
I don't think I've had Indian food ever.
You're also missing out. Also, butter chicken is just the tipping point. Then again, once you get into like tandoori chicken, like tikka masala and all that, that's where it really takes off and is super good.
Yeah, you
Interesting.
should do it. Yeah, have Indian
Yeah.
food. Have lassi if you haven't. However you pronounce it.
You basically lassi, yeah.
Yeah. They see the strawberry lassi because they've only had mango, but yeah. So Jason, what is Severance?
I also, Angel, when did you become the like MC of the show? You've been transitioning everything today, and smoothly, I might add, for the most part.
Works for me.
When was
Yeah,
the last time you tried that for the first time? I'm like, hey, I don't think I've ever.
I don't think I've ever transitioned. Yeah, but when you were like, I'm having a lazy. Okay, maybe not like that, but that too maybe. No, but I was just saying, like the way you're like, yeah, it's pretty lazy weekend, but you know what wasn't lazy? The Tough Mudder a weekend to get like that was smooth.
Has
learned.
Angel ever
You've learned
hosted?
from the best.
Only maybe like
full?
briefly when I just just started the podcast.
Yeah, but
without
like
telling
never
Jason.
an entire thing, right?
No, I don't think so. No, maybe that could change later on in the future. Well, something we could always talk about.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, there's opportunity maybe.
Yeah,
But yeah, you asked
I think you know what I'm getting at. But yeah,
about Severance. That's so cryptic and mysterious, but listeners will understand in due time. Stay tuned for more. But you asked about Severance, right? Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of shows since we last talked on our but Severance is the most recent, and Severance is probably one of the best. And Severance is one that came out of nowhere. So like it was on Apple TV. It's co-created and directed by Ben Stiller. And so I follow Ben Stiller on Twitter. So I saw him tweeting about it. I'm like, okay, this looks maybe interesting. Adam Scott's in it, like Patricia Arquette's in it, Christopher Walken's in it. It's something about like corporate life. Like I'll check it out. And I was like a few weeks late to the party, but I checked it out and then like, binged the first 3 or 4 and then just got totally hooked because it's really well done. So it's essentially an extreme version of like how mega corporations try and like do like a work-life balance and how they like try and make you like feel like you're, achieving a lot of work, like silly little incentives or like opportunities or kind of building that like corporate culture and like, oh, we're all buddies here, we're all friends, but it's to an extreme. So the premise is, what if you could actually split that work-life balance? What if when you're at work, you only think about work and you only connect with people at work and you don't have any of the baggage from being at home? And then when you're at home, what if you can just live your life with no baggage from work? So the show introduces this concept of severance, where you can literally have something implanted in your brain that splits you into 2 basically people in a way, because you have your work self, which is known as the innie in the show, like your innie. And that's just, mentally you are basically at work. When you leave work at the end of the day, this version of you, goes into the elevator, they clock out, they go into the elevator, and then that's it. You switch to your outie, which is your out of work body or mind, and that's just your normal life. And then when you go back to work, you go back down that elevator, you switch back to your innie, and everything from the outside world is left behind, and every time you leave work, everything from the inside office world is left behind. So the people that are the innies, that are like the work people, just only remember being at work, and just they go into the elevator and then they immediately come back out the elevator wearing maybe slightly different clothes, and they feel rested, but they don't really know why. They just know, okay, back to work. And the outies basically are like in an 8 to 10 hour nap every day when their body goes to work and switches to the innie, if that makes sense. So the premise is like, if you have this work-life split, what happens? Like, how are you doing with it in the outside world? And more importantly, how are the innies, who are like basically trapped in this like little prison of work, but don't necessarily feel like they're imprisoned, at least not at the start, how do they feel in this little office life world? And the show starts kind of slow, and it's just kind of like, you learn the dynamics of the team, and they have all sorts of team builders and lots of like corporate mumbo jumbo, and like they get little like incentives, like if they complete their work, they get, like, oh, you were the first to complete it. Do you want like a free finger trap? Do you want a waffle party? Do you want, we'll roll in a melon bar? And that's like all these like exciting things to get to do at work, and then it's slowly, you start to see like the cracks in the facade, so to speak, as these innies start to become less comfortable with the fact that like their life is this weird, almost Groundhog Day of just constantly work and kind of the like shifting dynamics of that team. And without spoiling anything, it starts to ramp up in some interesting ways, and like there's some conflict between like what the outies think are going on the inside and what the innies think might be happening on the outside. And then the finale that just came out a couple weeks ago is like the most intense. It's just like 45 minutes of just tension. Like it just keeps building, and then it ends in exactly the most dramatic way it can, and there's a cliffhanger and it just stops. And like, I didn't see anyone talk about this show, but when that finale happened, so many people started, like, my Twitter feed just blew up with Severance stuff, and I was just like, wow, this is, like, I didn't realize so many people were just like silently watching along like I was. But yeah, it was like that kind of, like, people were saying like, oh, this is the best finale I've seen on TV in like a decade or two, like this is the best finale I've ever seen. Like, it only works because of the slow build that they created over those 9 episodes. And it does, like, each episode kind of ratchets up the tension just a little more, and then it's just like you get to this like peak at the end of season 1, and then it just stops like mid. Like, it's such a cliffhanger, and it was so well done and so good. And I'm trying not to say too much because I don't really want to reveal too much, but because that's what was great about it, because no one was talking about it. There wasn't really, like, I didn't see a lot of background besides that premise I just explained. So it was kind of nice to go for the ride and not really know what to expect. And even telling you, like, the tension ratchets up, like, I feel like I shouldn't have even said that, but it's very well done. And the show itself is just visually extremely interesting. Ben Stiller
So you're saying it's a good last episode kind of show?
No. This is one that you want to watch the whole thing. It's good.
Where is it?
Apple TV Plus, which is surprisingly turning into a like good service for $5. Like, they have a lot of quality stuff now. I mean, Coda just won the Academy Award. That's supposed to be very good. Ted Lasso's obviously on there. There's a couple other things coming down the pipe I remember reading about that sound kind of interesting. Like, they're actually pumping out a lot of good content, and because it's Apple, they put so much money into it, which paired really well with like Ben Stiller's, I guess, like creative vision here, because the show is just visually very interesting. It's
Ben
first
Stiller?
of all, there's a lot.
Did you drop that name?
Ben
yet?
Stiller. Yeah, I did. I said he co-created it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's him. There are moments where it's kind of a dark comedy, so there's a little hint of his like comedic background, but it's also very much a drama. But yeah, no, his like vision for the show is like, when they're in the innie world, when they're in the office on their like little floor where they're all in their office mindsets, it's like this weird retro future thing. Like, it's like, the computers look like they're out of the 70s, but it's also kind of futuristic, and like there's a lot of like he likes to really do a lot of like parallel shots. Or not parallel shots, but a lot of symmetrical shots. So like things are really well framed. And then when they're in the outside world, like it's kind of shot a little differently, and like the colors are more gray and less like bold greens and stuff. Like it's a really, the aesthetic's such an interesting mix of like I said, retro future. It's like 70s mixed with kind of like the stark white of Apple. Like it's a really visually interesting show. And sometimes things, and just the way he like does some shots where things start to get a little off kilter, like he'll break the symmetry sometimes, or things where it's like, oh yeah, like you could just see something's weird amiss because everything's so like tidy and proper for so much of the show, and then there's like a little moment when it's not, and you're like, what's going on there? But yeah, it's gonna win awards, this thing. I guarantee, like it's really good, and it's really interesting to see Christopher Walken in kind of like this like side character role because it's Christopher Walken, like he's just like kind of just there. I mean, he's a core part of the show, but it's that too. It's kind of interesting to see that like they didn't even use that star power in the way they could. He's just a character, which works well. So yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil too much, but it is very good. Definitely like the pleasant surprise of the year for me. And I also just started and got through all of up to the final half of the last season. I just went through all of Ozark, and that was also very good. And I thought that was going to be like the show I'd be like, oh, let me tell you all about Ozark. But then Severance just came in out of nowhere, and I was like, whoa. So yeah, Severance. Definitely worth checking out. And also Ozark,
like
if you have
took
Netflix.
the wind out of you just like talking about it. You're like, woo.
Yeah, no, seriously, that was such a tense finale. Like, I don't know how to better. Like, there are multiple episodes that you're just kind of like it, and it's crazy because it's tense in a way that's not like violent. It's not gory. It's just like the not even politicking, but just kind of seeing the cracks show and how they portray that and like what happens next. Like, it's so tense for something that is relatively tame in premise. In the sense of, I really don't want to say much, but in the sense of like, you know, you're not like, oh guys, you gotta like shoot someone. Like, that doesn't really ever happen. But it's just like, there's no like I said, no violence, but just they do such a good job with the like interpersonal tension and what this company they work for is, which is a thing that they kind of never even explain. But it's really well done. So check out Severance. And since I'm already talking about, like I said, Ozark is pretty good too. It's the blue tinted Breaking Bad, essentially, if you've ever seen Ozark, or if anyone out there knows Ozark or Breaking Bad. You know, swap out one comedic actor in Bryan Cranston for Jason Bateman, and then swap out the yellow tint of everything for a blue tint. And then you got Ozark, essentially. The premise is Jason Bateman's character launders money for the Mexican drug cartel, and it's kind of like the trials and tribulations of him and his family having to go to the Ozarks in order to do that money laundering. And the show...
Oh, so he is not the Ozark.
No, he's not. No, it's a place. It's a place.
I don't know.
It's okay.
It's a name.
No, it's the Ozarks is like kind of a lakefront area in oh man, what state? I'm drawing a blank. Mississippi? Maybe? It's along the Mississippi. It's near the Mississippi. But yeah, it's similarly to Severance. It just kind of ramps up Ozark. Like, it starts pretty small, like he's just trying to keep his family afloat, and then things just keep going, and there's new players that come into the picture, and then you kind of follow Bateman's character as he and eventually his wife sort of amass more power and start to actually become players within the cartel themselves. And it's just it gets really like kind of ridiculous in the later season. Like, the amount of like crazy that happens is kind of like almost you have to suspend your disbelief a bit, but it's a fun ride, and I'm really curious to see how it ends. The final half of the last season is out end of this month. In general, this month has a lot of TV, because there's that. For everyone who has HBO Max, there's a show called Made for Love that's coming back. There's a show called Flight Attendants coming back. There's Moon Knight going on right now. There's Close Enough Season 3 just came out. There's a lot of TV at this particular moment in time, which is nice. Has anyone been watching Moon Knight?
I cut a few things here and there.
I
Kevin?
saw the first episode, but I wasn't really paying attention to it, so I gotta like rewatch it.
If it makes you feel better, the first episode barely makes sense even when you watch it. It's purposely very chaotic. But yeah, maybe we talk about Moon Knight once we're all through the 6 episodes, where I think it's halfway right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I know, Angel, you saw Close Enough, right? Because I name dropped that one too, and you watched that.
Yeah, of course. Gotta watch the show from my homie J.G. Quintel.
It's good.
Yeah, I did.
That's my thought.
Oh yeah, of
Good.
course it's good. Yeah, it's
Actually,
fun.
yeah.
I mean, like it's.
Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
It's fun. I mean, like it sticks to the tradition of the other ones, and if you've seen regular show, you pretty much know exactly what you're getting into, which is kind of ironic because like the whole show's premise is about, you know, things is kind of escalating to a point where sometimes it's like, where is this going? And then, you know, it just gets nuts, and you just go along for the ride. They very much turn your brain off and just enjoy show. But because it's kind of set in our real world, I don't know, like sometimes like the little jokes are kind of like what like just like get like probably something like the biggest laugh out of me. Especially in this season, like I think there was like a little gag about like parking regulations. Like they were like, "Oh, do you see if I'm gonna park my car here?" And then he's looking at the sign, and there's like a billion of them. And he's like, "Oh, okay, we're good." But then later,
and it unfolds. Yeah, it like unfolds to a second billion signs like after he parks.
Yeah, like little gags like that are really great.
Yeah, I feel like we have the advantage.
What are your thoughts?
I was gonna say, I think we have the advantage because we're in LA that so much of it is LA. Like it's set in LA, it references little things in LA. Like it's very LA. In the same way that BoJack had like Hollywood, and you could be like, oh, I get what they're referencing. I know that part, like that thing here. But yeah, I think I was talking about how shows like sort of get more extreme or intense or whatever. This one, like you're right, like the way it escalates is just that's what's so fun. Is the premise is basically it's. And it's for our age group, right? So basically, the creator, what was it, JC Quintel, right?
JG Quintel, and all his shows.
JG, right?
Yeah, when he did Close Enough. When he did regular show, like the characters in that show were roughly around like college age, and then like it's pretty much just his age. I mean, he just had a kid. That's kind of like what he's figuring out. So
and what's kind of cool is like, and I guess it's a true regular show too, because I know you told me that like, oh, there's episodes where they go meet like a fake version of like Shigeru Miyamoto and they're big video game nerds, and we like did that at that age. Like we went and tried to hunt him down at E3, and succeeded. Although we didn't get me in, but we got a wave, so we'll take it. But yeah, like it's now like the premises are simple, like oh, like it's their kid's first day of kindergarten, or oh, they like want to go out with their friends, but they have a kid, so they have to go like a Chuck E. Cheese instead of like a nice restaurant. And then the friends without a kid are like, this sucks, and like go off to like find like a more like age appropriate restaurant and end up down this weird rabbit hole. And that's the thing, the weird rabbit hole. Like every simple premise, even if it's just finding parking or something, they ramp it up to such an extreme and such a ridiculous extreme that half the fun is just seeing where they can take an idea like, what if a former influencer, who's one of the main characters, like she's on Instagram now, there's TikTok, there's younger kids, how does she stay relevant? And it just ramps to like the most ridiculous stuff. Or like, they want to get a hamburger from a popular hamburger stand in Venice or something. And that seems easy enough. There's all us foodies and us millennial foodies, like, oh, we gotta get this hamburger. We have a friend that's super foodie and like that. And, seeing like the way it unfolds and how it just keeps building, or like they're building sandcastles and it's a contest and how that escalates to something ridiculous. Like all of them are very mild mannered premises and they just take it so far, and it's super fun. And half the time you never see it coming where they're going to go, because they like lean in on all these influences from other types of media. Like, there's like, there's one that was basically like an anime battle. There's one that was like vampires. Like it's really fun just to see where they spin the thing to and how it, and the thing is, you're saying, you turn off your brain. You do, but even like in the logic of the show, like in the logic of the progression, there is a logical course that got them there. Maybe the course is like, oh, well, because vampires are real. But then when you follow it, you're like, oh, yeah, well, of course, if like they're going here and like vampires are real, this would be one of the next things that would likely happen. But it's just like the perfect like ratcheting up to that point, if that makes sense. Yeah. And you have to go along with the idea that like vampires are real. So you have to buy into the initial silly premise. So like there's one with like a Norse god. It's like, okay, well, if you're going to do the Norse god thing, then yeah, they would want to do this next. So like it's not totally just like random. Like it has like some weird self-contained logic, kind of. But the influences they pull are random, and that's what's really fun, because you never know which thing they'll tie in. Like the vampire one ties into Margaritaville, like the Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville restaurant. Like what? It doesn't make sense, but once you kind of go with it, it kind of makes sense in that sense, in that context. So yeah, it's just really fun. And they're really breezy. They're like regular shows, like 10 minutes.
Like, I mean, you definitely, and you're definitely rewarded just for, I mean, not for consuming a ton of media, but like, there's just references everywhere. Like, if I hadn't seen Point Break, I wouldn't have gotten that one of the episodes, I think in season 2, was literally an entire Point Break parody. I would have just been like, oh, it's just, a cop being undercover with some old ladies trying to bust their weed gig, and then, they die surfing or something like that. But,
yeah,
it's fun. It's just fun.
And for the gamers out there, since we are around on Nintendo in a way still, there are video game references because he is a video game fan. There's one episode.
There was a dude playing a Switch, I'm sure.
There's a dude playing a Switch. The episode where they want to meet fellow parents, the daughter of the fellow parents was dressed as Princess Peach. And then they went to a bar called Mario and Luigi's. So, like, there's all sorts of stuff scared about. So, yeah, it's a really fun show. And like I was starting to say, it's really breezy. It's
really
like
easy to binge, too.
Yeah, because they're 20 minutes, but it's 2 episodes each. So it's actually 16 stories. Yeah, it's 16 stories, except the Halloween episode, which is like kind of 3 stories in one, but it's a full 20. But it's 16 10-minute stories. Just like regular show, I think was structured right. So it's really easy if you just want to pop one in for a bit, or if you want to go through all of them. I think we did it in 2 nights here. So we split it, 4-4. But, yeah, no, it's super fun. Yeah. I could keep going with TV shows, by the way. There's so many since we last talked. Should I just keep plowing through my little list here?
I'm not going to stop you.
All right. So if you want another kind of fun show, 2 fun shows, there's been this revival, I've noticed, kind of in the start of this year, like since our last R&On, really, of like comedy murder mystery. And I feel like that started last summer with Only Murders in the Building, which is coming back for season 2 in June for anyone who's into that show. But in January and February, respectively, Apple TV and Netflix put out their own murder mystery comedies. First up on Apple TV was The Afterparty, which is from Chris Miller and Phil Lord of Spider-Verse, of 21 Jump Street, of Gravity Falls, if you want to go back enough far enough back in time. And the basic
Lego
premise
movie.
is... What was that? Oh, yeah, Lego Movie. Yeah, at least the original. Some other stuff, too, I'm forgetting. But they're Last Man on Earth. But yeah, so I'm a fan of their work. Mitchell versus the Machines. But...
Let's just go through it all.
Yeah, let me pull up their IMDb. No, but yeah, it's, this show's premise is it's a high school reunion, and there's all these different people, went through different walks of life, and they're all getting back together at this reunion, and then at the end of the night, one of the people at the reunion, who's actually a pop star, that's kind of like a riff on Bieber, named Xavier, he dies. He is seemingly murdered. And then each episode tries to explain the series of events that led to his murder from the perspective of each character, which, okay, sure, but each character's perspective is also its own genre spoof. So you have one, like, tough guy who's basically a Fast and Furious action movie spoof. You have a guy who's an aspiring musician himself, whose episode is a musical, and it's actually Ben Schwartz who plays this guy and sings, which I didn't know Ben Schwartz did. You may know Ben Schwartz as, here comes IMDb, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, Jean-Ralphio on Parks and Rec. If anyone watches Space Force, he was Tony? He was a social media guy on Space Force. But yeah, he was in a bunch of other stuff too. But yeah, so his is a musical episode, or there's one that's animated. There's one that's, what else? There's like a rom-com. And each one tells the same night and the same basic series of events, but from that character's perspective, from that genre's like lens. Like, so, they change the production style, they change the outfits, they change, everything. And also, because it's a murder mystery and it's the telling from each narrator, they also change the detail. So what you're kind of parsing as you watch is where things make sense to you, where things conflict, where is the truth in all this. And each character is telling these stories to a detective played by Tiffany Haddish. And she's also kind of parsing through and picking out stuff as you go. And then by the end of the episode, you kind of have an idea of what you think may be the reality that actually occurred between all these different narratives, between all these different genres. And then you kind of watch as Tiffany Haddish puts it all together and announces who the murderer is. There's also a great high school movie spoof that's like straight up like Superbad meets like American Pie. Like literally one of the characters is just like Michael Cera in Superbad. And I love Superbad. So that I got a kick out of that. But yeah, it's just kind of a fun way.
Never ever heard you bring that movie up. I am skeptical.
You are 100% king, and I know you are. I never mentioned it on Nintendo, but you've heard me say it a bunch in college.
And as everyone knows, if it's not mentioned on the podcast, it didn't.
It's not true. Yeah. Yeah. Which means technically when I did that trespassing at the Flintstones Park, I didn't actually trespass until I said it here. There I was just walking like a normal person through open plains. Yeah. But But yeah, no, it's a fun show, Afterparty, and they have announced a season 2 that will bring back some characters, but also do a new murder mystery with new characters. I don't know how they're going to do the genre spoof thing, but it's really fun. And some of the episodes are stronger than others. Like some of the genre spoofing works better. I thought the High School one was good. The musical one was great. They even do kind of a parody of like all those songs. They're like, oh, this is your one shot, your one opportunity, Eminem, that sort of thing. Like they do a kind of riff on that. The rom-com one is, the problem with the rom-com one is it's the opening episode, and it's maybe one of the weaker ones in my opinion. So if you kind of bear it through the rom-com one, there's a lot of really good stuff after that. There's also a great animated one. But yeah, so that's Afterparty, and that's really fun. And again, another example of Apple TV Plus somehow actually like cranking out some really good content lately. And then on Netflix, the other crime show I've been watching, because I guess I just like watching crime now, is Murderville, which is also a unique comedy premise in that each episode has Will Arnett playing the same cop and working in the same precinct and, doing what he does with the same supporting cast, but he has a different partner in each episode, a different person to help solve the crime. And each person is a trainee who is literally just a celebrity, and they don't have the script. So for Will Arnett and everyone in the scene, they know the beats they need to follow. They know what clues they need to allude to or show or demonstrate. And then the improv partner, the celebrity, has to basically follow along, improv along, and then at the end, guess who the murderer is from 3 different suspects. And they're not the best at figuring out who it is, but they are really funny as they go through it. So it's Conan, which of course automatically means I'm going to love it because Conan O'Brien. But it's Conan, it's Marshawn Lynch, who's actually really good. It's Sharon Stone, it's Kumail Nanjiani, who's also really good, and Ken Jeong. And each episode is kind of a self-contained murder mystery because only, obviously, that actor's in that one episode. But it turns out there's a very lightly threaded story between all 5 involving Will Arnett's character. And I did not expect that. Like, I thought I also didn't expect it to be quite a game show in the sense of, like, they do the mystery, and then at the end, Will Arnett's like, okay, so tell me who it is and why. And, like, they're all sitting there, and the whoever the celebrity is has to, like, say, it's that person, and here's why. And then, they tell them if they're right or wrong, and that sort of thing. But, yeah, there's, like, a very light story about Will Arnett's character threaded throughout. And, oh, I forgot one. It's actually 6 episodes because Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek is also in. But, yeah, so it's fun. And it's very different than Afterparty in the sense of, obviously, since it's not as structured, you don't have as many, like, intertwining thoughts. But they do a very good job within each episode of laying out some clues, giving some contradicting possibilities, and doing it all essentially through improv. Because like I said, Will Arnett and his regular cast of people that play the supporting roles do have a script, but they have to work off the improv of, if Marshawn Lynch tries to go on a tangent about something or if Conan riffs on something or whatever, they have to adapt and kind of bring the story back to the scripted elements they need. And Netflix put out this little 3-minute clip that I wish they did a full episode or provide a full way to do, but they actually had a scroll along of the script as written and of what the guest improviser was saying. And you could see, and they would cross out and move around elements as they need. You could see how Will Arnett in real time had to change plot lines or shuffle plot lines. All the supporting cast had to kind of work off that. So it's a really cool, if you like improv at all, it's really cool just to see how dynamically they were able to adapt to whatever, Conan joke he happened to decide to make in the moment, but also how this thing works so well. It really is, it works really well. I'm surprised at how smoothly it all feels. Some episodes are stronger than others, depending on, the actor or the guest, but if they crack a lot, Ken Jeong could not stop laughing. But, yeah, it's just a really entertaining show. It's just such a unique premise and a unique structure that it's fun to watch, if not even just to solve the mystery, just to see it unfold or see how Kumail Nanjiani or someone adapts to the challenge. Because one of the things they do in it that I forgot to mention is as they discover these clues, Will Arnett basically sets up improv games for them. So he'll be okay, I'm gonna be in your ear, we need you undercover, go in there, I'm gonna tell you what to say, and that sort of thing. Or oh, we need you to walk a certain way or behave a certain way, you need to be this guy now, and they have to kind of do almost typical improv games, but in the story, and they all fit the story and they all make sense, and it's just really well thought out. So that's kind of a fun show too. Very goofy.
Is it filmed
very
like
goofy.
a Is it filmed like a regular show? Or is it filmed like a TV show?
It's filmed like a regular TV show. Yeah, so, they have multiple cameras, they have camera angles, they have, like, different set pieces they go to, and yeah, it's a full-on regular show. It's just one person doesn't have a script, and then has to figure out what's going on without the script.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's based on a British show, which I guess was even looser in a way than this one. But yeah, it's a really kind of fun premise. And I hope they do a season 2, because I'm sure there's a ton of great comedians that would fit right in. Especially especially like oddball ones like Sharon Stone. I don't know how she got looped into it, and she wasn't bad at all. But like, I'd be curious to see other people who aren't like natively, comedians, like Marshawn Lynch, for example, football player, but he ended up killing it. He was actually really funny. So it'd be interesting to see if they do a season 2, like who they can grab to be part of it. But yeah, so those are my crime shows I've been watching. I've been big on crime lately, I guess, between that and Ozark.
Yeah, and then like Murders in the Building. Murders in
Only Murders in the Building.
Like,
yeah.
Procedural.
Yeah. I've all these things are, that's the thing, because you mentioned procedural. All these things are, for the most part, excluding Murderville, kind of full story arc, like deeper, like not just like a Law and Order situation. But yeah, I've been big on crime. This whole episode's been big on crime. Talked about trespassing and tickets. Huh. Weird.
Wow.
We've been
What
up to
about
no good.
crime fighters? We all saw the Batman.
So do you think
That's
chaotic
true.
neutral, I guess, in that whole thing?
I wouldn't say so.
Lawful chaotic?
He's definitely not chaotic.
Thank you, I think.
This is milk toast as they come.
Oh.
Thank you. But you said Batman. I'm just gonna pivot us away from this conversation. You said Batman. We're talking about crime. We all saw it, right?
Yep, we all saw it.
Thoughts, anyone?
Honestly, not really. I can really say I enjoyed it. But I kind of came out of it, like, I kind of forgot about it, like, a few days later. Like, I don't know, I enjoyed it in the moment.
To me. Yeah.
But, I don't know, like, I just don't know what it was about it. Like, I don't know what it was about it that didn't, like, hook me. I don't think I was, like, sucked into the movie at any point where I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? I was just like, okay, that's cool. Like, I was just like along for a ride. It felt like, I don't know, but I don't know.
Did it feel like something was in the way?
Beautiful.
I felt like I was missing something.
I see what you did there, Kevin.
I don't think Angel did though.
No, I didn't.
That was. I would clap. I don't want to like accidentally like blow someone's headphones out, but that was top tier.
I think I just need to rewatch it again. I mean, I did miss like the first 20 minutes, so maybe that was it. But yeah,
that did set up a lot of what was going to happen.
Did it?
Kind of. That's when like.
Well, okay, I don't know how much I missed. I mean, I think you may know, Kevin, because you watched it with Elvis.
Oh yeah, yeah. Crap, I don't remember where he said it was that like.
Because when I started the movie, Alfred and Batman were already looking at the Riddler's first clue, and I was like, "Oh."
Actually, you didn't miss much at all.
Yeah,
I thought you were past that clue because like if you don't have one of the clues,
because it literally felt like I was started. It felt like when I turned it, like, it felt like I turned on a movie in the middle of the movie. Where
no,
I was
like
okay, like I know we don't need to know Batman's origin again, but like I feel like I didn't really know anyone's deal, and it just kind of felt like just watching people do stuff.
Yeah, here's the thing about that.
But it just felt like stuff was just happening. I don't know.
The thing about the movie is every Batman movie has been a Batman movie where he happens to do some stuff. This was a crime movie where the detective happened to be Batman, if that makes sense. Like they flipped it. So. Yeah, so you do kind of go in going like, oh, I know who Batman is, and it's just like, it's like literally you turn on a 3-hour episode of like a good episode of, I don't know, Law and Order or something, and then instead of it being like a New York police detective, it's Batman. That's kind of basically like at a high level, and obviously the Riddler's a little more extreme than a typical bad guy in a procedural, but that's kind of at a high level what they did here. You do now, yeah, that's true. Did you have him first, or did he have him first?
Person. Well, I guess technically they had him first, or he had him first because the trailer premiered like a long time ago, but I didn't notice until after I saw the movie. I mean, I've been wearing the glasses for like 2 months by that point.
I see.
So, yeah. But yeah, I only became aware of it when I saw the movie.
But yeah, because it is, at least to me, because it was kind of that like detective film noir, like procedural story deal. Yeah, it did feel kind of like it was Batman for sure, but like it definitely felt like you were just kind of dropped into something, which also made it hard for me to not compare it to like things I've seen in other Batman movies in a way. Like they did a lot of cool, unique stuff, but there's some, especially the cinematography. Like there's some really cool visual shots in the movie. A lot playing with like light and color and stuff, which makes sense because I think
definitely the best looking Batman movie.
Yeah, and I think the cinematographer did he did something else that also was visually really cool, but I don't remember what it was. But anyway, so they got like good talent to do, like make it visually very interesting, but like, you know, they catch the Riddler, but then something happens after they catch him or things like that. It's like, okay, yeah, they did that in Dark Knight. Joker was caught, but then he still rigged something afterward. Like there's so many things I just like couldn't. And it's not the fault of the movie. There's only so many ways you could tell a Batman story, but there's so many things that just was like, I kind of saw that in Dark Knight. Oh, I kind of remember that from like an older Batman. I kind of remember this from other superhero movies. Like it felt, because the film noir was at the forefront, it felt like some of the Batman-y things were just almost too familiar because they didn't like lean in on what makes this Batman truly like different. They just kind of like plopped you in like, here's kind of a darker, grimier, more emo, younger Batman. But then what he did wasn't hugely different outside more detective work than what we saw in other Batmen, I guess. So that I kind of see where you're coming from, Angel, where it was like just kind of like, oh, here's the Batman. There he is. He's solving a crime. But yeah, there's some visuals that were cool, and I thought the story was, like, you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, while I do feel like I need to watch it again, I actually do want to watch it again. Like, it's not like a movie where I feel like I feel like I have to watch it again to understand it. Like, I just want to watch it again. I just feel like I just have that craving. So, you know, we already pre-ordered the Steelbook. We'll get that soon enough. Actually, I think it's available to watch beginning next week on digital or something.
Yes, actually on the 18th. In like 3 days. In like 2 days after this goes up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin, what did you make of it?
Yeah, so I guess I would be able to do that.
I really, really liked it. I think it's... There's this thing with Bat. I don't love... I don't love any Batman movie. I think the closest that I have to like really loving one is The Dark Knight. But I don't really even think that's a good Batman movie.
Really?
I think it's a good Batman. I think it's a good movie, but I do not think that is a good Batman movie. No, I think Batman Begins is the closest to a good Batman movie in that whole trilogy of movies.
Lego Batman.
I haven't seen Lego Batman, but The Dark Knight. I actually, you know what? My Nolan movies, I'm not even gonna count the other ones because I really care about them. Have I seen what?
If you ever have a free night, and I said if you ever have a free night, next time we actually get to hang out, you know, when we watch like the way we watch Transformers last time, let's get some drinks and watch Lego Batman.
I'm down.
That's a fun one.
I'm down. Yeah.
Hey, listeners, you're all invited. If you can figure out where we live and dox us, you're welcome to come have some drinks and watch Lego Batman. I probably shouldn't have said that. Someone's gonna show up.
Screw it.
Hopefully they just dox
We'll But
you guys are a little more.
So
you guys are a little harder to find than me. I will give you that.
I feel like The Dark Knight is a really, really, really good movie, but I do not think it's a good Batman movie. And the reason I say this is because switch out Batman for Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, and that movie stays exactly the same.
Even the motorcycle flip around thing on the wall actually would be the same. You're right.
Yep.
Like that's yeah.
And so that's why that movie I don't think is a very good Batman movie. Batman Begins is the closest thing that we have to a good Batman movie there. Dark Knight Rises, the less said the better. Yeah, but like this is the closest I feel like we've gotten to an actual Batman movie, which I really, really enjoyed. The thing is, not all of the parts of the movie worked exactly for me. There was a part of me that did kind of want to see Robert Pattinson as a playboy, and I know that they purposely decided not to do that because, you know, he's a younger Batman. He still doesn't know how to like live this double life, essentially. So for a sequel, that will like be really cool, assuming they go that route. But I did love the detective stuff. I did love how gritty it was. Gotham felt like its own character this time around, as opposed to in the Nolan trilogy, it pretty much just being Chicago.
Yeah, that I agree with. Gotham felt very unique here.
Yeah. But there's a lot of like nitpicky issues that I have with it. It was like essentially the movie takes place in two different parts. It takes place on like a random street or the club.
Yeah, no, I noticed that immediately. Yeah, which somewhat.
I really love that entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And it is worth noting that, like, if you look at like old film noirs, you know, it's always like, oh, you're in the detective's office. Now you're in like one of three locations. Now they go back to that crime scene again. Like it.
Mm-hmm.
So like it kind of like even Blade Runner, which just definitely took inspiration from like that opening shot in the rain with the clear umbrellas. Like that's straight up Blade Runner. And even Blade Runner, I think like there are like 3 or 4 locations it kind of circled around. So like that might have been an homage, but it really stuck out like a sore thumb, kind of. Like I immediately noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the Pattinson. I thought he was really good. Zoe Kravitz, I thought killed it.
Mm-hmm.
John Turturro, I didn't even know that he was in the movie until he showed up.
It just dawned on me he's in it. That's him. Yeah, because I think he's also in Severance. I think John Turturro.
Is he?
Let me check that. I mean, you can keep talking while I look. We don't need to say Severance, but.
John Turturro, he was great in that, and I really love John Turturro in The Night Of, which is another HBO show that you should be watching. I think we talked about The Night Of before, right?
Possibly.
Angel, didn't you watch it?
Night Elf?
The Night Of.
Night Elf.
Oh, The Night Of. No, I didn't.
Elf After
Okay.
After Dark.
The Night Of is a fantastic show that he's in with Riz Ahmed. Which Jason would actually like too, because it's like a murder thing.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that and completely forgot about it like the year after it came out. Also, yes, John Turturro is in Severance, and
okay,
I didn't realize I was Turturroing so hard these last couple months.
And then who else was in that? Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell, who was awesome. I love Colin Farrell, but if you're not going to make him look like Colin Farrell, you might as well just hire some random dude off the street to play
I was
him.
really impressed with that makeup, though. Like, that was some intense.
Well, yeah,
like,
because he looks nothing like him.
Yeah, and now they're doing a spin-off show with him on HBO Max.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, and he'll continue to probably not look like himself.
Yeah. But, yeah, this Batman movie, I think it's in the upper ranks of Batman movies, but that's not really saying much. So...
And I do want to clarify where I was like, oh, it's very procedural, and they just kind of plot Batman and da-da-da-da. Like, I did really enjoy it. Like, besides just how it looked, like, I had a lot of, I enjoyed it a lot. Again, I think like you, it was kind of, you know, nitpicks or observations as someone who's seen so many Batman movies and came in, especially in my case, like, I love, less so the third one, but I love the Nolan trilogy, so, like, it was really hard for me not to draw those parallels. But it's a very solid movie. A little long, but very solid movie in its own right.
Actually, Can we talk spoilers? Are we going to talk anything else after this?
That's all I've got. Was there anything, Angel, was there anything else you want to bring up?
Okay, because...
That's all I got, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just like slight spoilers for this movie. I think one thing that really killed it for me was how crazy the stakes got at the end.
Oh, like out of nowhere, where it was like this kind of slow, methodical. He's basically a Zodiac killer type of one and done guy, and then suddenly, like, the city's being completely destroyed in one fell swoop.
Essentially, it was. Yeah. It's so weird how this. And I was ready for the movie to finish there, where they capture the Riddler, and like, okay, that's the end. You know, it's a thinking man's Batman movie, whatever you want to call it. But then it just turned into a superhero movie at the end, which was not something that I felt the entire time watching the movie up to that point. Where
it felt very isolated prior.
Yeah, the Riddler goes from I don't know what you want to call him, an anarchist, to just a straight up terrorist.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like even the final set piece when they're inside the Madison Square Garden equivalent for Gotham, and you know he's like it's being flooded and everything. Like even that was still physically a small space with few people being affected, but they like say against the backdrop of the whole city is completely flooded now.
Yeah,
which is kind of a
so
plot.
weird.
And like a lot of these, like, I really like the show Gotham, which I realize was kind of a weird, zanier take on Batman. Like, it was grounded in its weirdness, but it was like this whole other thing. I feel like Gotham touched on some of the ideas they did in the Batman in almost slightly better implementations. Like, I don't know, like they did like the ramp up of some characters from like a little thing to a big thing felt more natural than like how it went from literally Riddler being just a serial killer to like a full on, like you said, like terrorist or something. Like it was, yeah, it did ramp up extremely quickly.
That's what, not an
Yeah.
serial killer to just terrorist. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and also like, again, it because of the parallel to Dark Knight, like I was saying before, like, you know, they catch Riddler and then he does something crazy. Like when they caught Joker and he did something crazy, he did something on the scale of what the Joker did the whole movie. You know, he blew up a hospital at one point. He then blows up some boat. That's pretty 1-to-1. Like, okay, he has the capabilities for both, but like, yeah, Riddler went like 0 to 100. Like that was, in retrospect, that was a huge leap he just took. And like, when did he set that all up? Like, I don't know. It just seems very,
I mean,
you know, and if you look at it, like,
Well, yeah.
no, but no. But I mean, like, if you look at like when he's doing his live streams and stuff, he has like like they even make a reference like, oh, he has 400 followers. It's like, okay, that's enough to do a little damage, but like, flood an entire city, it seems like a lot for you and your 400 people to like enact and successfully execute in such a way. But I don't know.
So speaking of that, I want to talk about seawalls real quick. What? That was the first time I've ever heard of a seawall.
Oh yeah, they're a thing.
that's
New
a
York
thing?
has them. New York has
Cool.
them. Yeah.
New York?
Yeah. So New York, when they built out Manhattan, they physically added land to the island of Manhattan at one point. Like they took landfill or something. I don't know what they built it on, but they took land and like extended part of Manhattan outward. So when Hurricane Sandy hit in like 2012 or whatever, it flooded the seawalls, and there's actually parts of Manhattan that were like in water, not to the extent of what they showed in Batman, but like it was like a few feet, like down the street, like all over the place. It's a real thing, yeah. So because Manhattan's so low, like sea level wise, and then they added fake land, so it's even lower in a way. Yeah, they had to build seawalls, and those are they line all part, like not all of Manhattan, but good chunks of Manhattan. Yeah.
What's the point?
Keep the water out.
But
if you're
like,
low on
so-
sea, Miami's gonna have to do this real soon if they haven't already with global warming. But you know, as water levels rise or as there's a chance of a storm or something, you gotta make sure that your streets don't get flooded.
Sure. But like, so the Riddler blows up. He like what? It's like 5 vans.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. What felt like a little ridiculous to me. He blows up 5 vans
like
and the entire city is just
6
destroyed.
A 6-foot wall is keeping this entire, or 5 6-foot walls are keeping this entire city from flooding.
Yeah, that's the part that
apparently this is in real life too. People need to change. Oh my god, it was so weird. It's so weird to me. I was like, what the hell's a seawall? And now I'm hearing that, oh, it's an actual thing.
The thing that's throwing me off about it is, and this is kind of what I was getting at, like how he like ran, like him and his 400 people just like fly the whole city. It's like Manhattan, from my understanding, is kind of sectioned a little. So yeah, there are seawalls, and if you blow up that seawall, yes, some water will come in, but like, unless there's a storm or you're somehow pouring extra water into like the rivers that surround Manhattan, like I don't really know how it would, to the degree that it did in this movie, flood the entirety of Midtown. Like I don't, that quickly even. Like I don't, maybe I'm not a civil engineer, maybe it does, but I don't know, like when Sandy hit, it took a crazy hurricane with a crazy amount of rain to raise the water high enough above the wall and then push it through because the water kept coming. If you have like relatively stationary rivers, you know, what are they, where's that water coming from in that quantity? That's the only thing I don't know. But also I maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not a civil engineer. But yeah, that ramp up was kind of ridiculous. But I still really did enjoy the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was literally the only thing that I wanted to get into spoilers for, just that ending, because that ending felt like it came out of nowhere.
It, for some reason, felt more kind of like, to me than at the end of Dark Knight Rises, where Batman's like, all right, I'm going to go take this nuke out to the sunset. See ya. Oh, I survived. Hi again. Like, even that
Dark Knight
felt
Rises
less.
is its own anomaly of bad, so.
It's weird because like at the time I wanted to like it so much because I love Dark Knight so much and I was so excited for that movie
I
and I came out of it. I'm like,
honestly,
yeah, and I just like, oh, this was really cool. And then the more I thought about it over the years, I'm just like, there's a lot of weird stuff in that movie. Never mind, what's her name?
Honestly, as you think, I still need to watch it, so I guess I'll watch Dark Knight Rises eventually.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can still find enjoyment in it for sure, and I still like referencing his Bane voice. Like, I don't know, I like Bane himself was cool, but
it's
like
iconic. His Bane voice is iconic at this
point. Like the character was pretty well done too. Although the character kind of became like a weird like Joker also of sorts. But yeah, like Bane was great, but like there's so many weird other things. Like Catwoman was fine, but like really the story.
I hated her Catwoman so much.
I thought she was fine. Like,
I thought she
fine,
was so bad. I thought she was terrible.
The one I thought was the weakest was how they kind of wove. I don't remember who she played or who the actress was. The French actress who ended up being the big bad.
Talia.
Yeah, the way she like that story kind of. I don't know. Oh yeah, sorry, Angel, spoilers. But yeah, that story kind of. And then the way she just like died, like more spoilers. But that last shot of her, it felt so like cartoony. I don't know the way she was like and tilted her head, and that was it. Like, I don't know, the whole thing.
Yeah, because like she got into a car accident.
Yeah, and then she's just like, oh well, I did what I wanted to do, or whatever she said, and it's just like, and then she just kind of like did like the most generic, like, I'm an actor faking my death. Like, it was so bad.
Well, yeah, either way, the Dark Knight Rises is its, like I already said, it's its own thing, and
yeah,
it's an anomaly in that trilogy, honestly, to me. But
for sure.
As far as this movie goes, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's probably it's so weird because I'm saying that I enjoy it and like I'm very critical of it.
Same. I mean, I've been critical this whole time, but I really enjoyed it.
But then I'm saying like it might be my favorite Batman movie, but that's only because the bar is set so low.
Right. I'm very curious with what they do next. There's definitely gonna be a next. The movie did well. But I'm thinking like they teased, if you see the movie in its, as released, they teased kind of a Joker deal. And then,
you could just straight up say they released everything. Yeah, the Joker.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then they did a YouTube video.
Most likely going to be involved in this series at some point.
Well, did you see that YouTube video they put out? Like, what a strange.
I thought was really weird.
How they put it out, or the scene itself.
Just in general, I'm not a fan of this Joker. I'll just say it out loud.
I appreciate that they're trying to ground him a little because this whole Batman is more grounded and more, like again, kind of going back to like it's a crime movie first. Like, it is more grounded in that regard, so them kind of doing, like, a Joker actually looks like he fell in an acid bath kind of makes sense. But yeah,
we actually get to see the Joker
if you go on YouTube, Warner Brothers, I guess because everyone just streams movies, so there's no, like, digital extras for Blu-rays anymore, they just, like, uploaded a deleted scene where Batman and Joker are talking to try and, like Batman's basically picking Joker's brain, like, do you know who this Riddler guy is? And
which I would be down if they do that with this series, where he is sort of the Hannibal Lecter character that he goes to. It might get old by, let's say, the third movie, because come on, of course there's going to be a third movie as well.
Yeah. Yeah, if they did that as a second thing, like some sort of happens. Because every Batman property ever, like every adaptation, Gotham as well, they're always like, oh, the yin and yang of Batman and Joker. Like, Joker is like Batman's like he is Batman but evil, and Batman's Joker but good. Like they're in it for the same thing. Like, like they always do that, but they always pit them against each other. So they have them kind of in parallel, like they did in that scene. That could be interesting. Where they're actually kind of using each other a little more in a way that actually benefits Batman, unlike in Dark Knight, where Joker's like, oh, I'm using you to get what I need, and Batman's like, I don't want to be part of this. Like, this one, Batman's actually, like, in the clip, he's really trying to leverage what Joker knows. So that I thought was kind of interesting, if they run with that dynamic, like you're saying. But
yeah, so.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Then we'll tell. That was the Batman.
We'll see. But yeah, Angel, if you haven't seen the clip, Angel, literally go on YouTube. It's just Warner Brothers just, like, uploaded on, like, a random Wednesday a few weeks ago. So.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think that's it, though.
I think that'll do it for this episode. It's been
what a journey.
Like we said at the very top, it's been a minute. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Actually, I don't have all the housekeeping stuff in front of me.
Oh. Right. Oh, I'm always happy to step in for this part.
There we go.
I love regurgitating things. Okay. So you can find us on all the podcast apps. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Pandora, Amazon Music. I already said Spotify. And YouTube. Randomtown.com is the name. And we will be back in a week on the pulling up a calendar, 24th, 23rd, 20-something of April with our next random, 24th, I should have gone with my gut, with our next random Nintendo, where last week I said I have no idea what we're talking about. This week, I think I could say we're probably talking about Sonic at least. And the rest is still a mystery. But yeah, you can also follow us on Twitter at RamNintendo. On Twitter individually, I'm JSR7. Kevin is KVNGomi. Angel is Weiro, WEIRO_O. So normally in Arnon's, I do the final word.
Yep,
but
you
I'm
are
already
still taking us out.
Wait, what?
You are still taking us out. Take us out.
No, that was it. Just wait, what? That was my ending. That was all I had.